We know the Earthen are coming. They're not the most excited allied race, if I'm going to be honest. A bit taller dwarves. It's almost like an oxymoron. But the Earthen are coming. They're the new allied race. You know, they got some cool abilities on the side. Let's see what Mr. Bellular has to say about them.
Then we got the Earthen allied race.
Yes,
Matt, what do we think about the Earthen?
uh,
The Earthen, which are one of the features of this expansion.
So,
They're not the most exciting thing. They're not.
Okay.
Gotta check
the
his
Earthen
pants.
I get it.
The
They are in the
Earthen
game.
exist in the video game experience called The War Within, the 10th expansion to World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft. So anyway, yeah, moving on. No, not actually moving on. I think there's something real to be said here, which everyone saw them and went,
Yawn.
Yeah.
L? For the first time, people in chat went L and were correct, as opposed to any.
The one thing I will say about them is that their main feature is their crystals, right? The crystals sticking out from their body. And I think I've said this before. I kind of wish the crystals clipped through the gear. Because when Earthen are fully equipped in gear, there's really no way to tell them apart from a regular dwarf other than they're a little bit taller. So, I mean, there's no part of their silhouette or anything that's very unique to them. They're just dwarfs for the Horde, essentially.
Time there's a video game showcase, and people are like, it's not GTA 6 L, or Skong where L. Fucking. I'm the same.
Where is Scum?
Soon, shut up. Sorry, Xbox Game Showcase in June anyway.
Very good.
That's where Skong is. Anyway, Earthen. Everyone saw them, went, who gives a shit? Why are they a third race? A third dwarf? We already got dwarves. Do we need more dwarves?
Yeah.
These fucking suck.
And everybody knows the coolest dwarf race is the Black Iron Dwarfs. That's a guarantee. 100%.
The point. I was like,
They still are.
it felt like a tonal mismatch in the same way the Drakthir were. And everyone goes,
Or
we
Dark
don't
Irons.
want these. And I have still seen that compared to the likes of, people, well, there's one, so, someone asking for ogres. People are like, where are ogres? Like, ogres don't make any fucking sense. You could make them make sense, but, whatever.
Moknathal would be the way to do it.
Yeah, that would be cool. You could go for that. Like, so obviously that's all literally true.
There's the Where Are the Ogres crowd, and then what about the Tuskar? Everyone thought we were getting Tuskar and Dragonflight. I still think, look, I really do believe there's a chance that Blizzard surprises us, like it just comes out of nowhere with this shit and gives us Tuskar at the very end of the expansion. I still think that's possible. But I really thought we were getting them in Dragonflight with all their customization and everything, their whole village, their storyline. I really thought we were getting playable Tuskar. And that would have been much more of a fan favorite thing than these dwarfy boys. Yeah, but in Evi mythology, dwarven women have beards too. That's true. They do. Yeah, this isn't just a female, wow wokeness thing. That's true. Even in it's talked about in Lord of the Rings, right? That women do have beards. Yeah, that's a dwarf thing in all mythology. Where are the Vrykul? I know that's another one that's highly requested that I don't know if we're ever gonna get.
Where you go, there's still that problem, but. I'll hit it with another
I'd rather
negative
be a
first
furball.
before we go into the positive. Another negative is, and this is literally just could be what I've seen on Alpha with the campaign. I don't exactly know 100% what vibes are going for with the Earthen as a race, like character-wise. There's some stuff that kind of cooks and then some stuff that doesn't cook, and I'm a little bit confused.
I like the little memory crystal thing.
Yeah, see,
and the way that was treated as being sacred
Yeah,
at the time, because that sort of
Yeah.
implied a layer of culture.
yeah, but then there's elements where they feel robotic and cultureless, and you get a bit
Right.
confused. And then there's bits where they feel like they're a fresh race, completely new to the world. So there's stuff like that, and it feels like maybe side quests just need to get their writing in tune a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
The story that's told through the Earthen and through the questing, and when we get introduced to them, it's going to make a difference a bit in terms of how we feel about the race. I don't think the race is like a shit race. They might make a lot of sense in the expansion. I just don't know, as an allied race or a new race to be able to play, if they were that exciting. That's about it. I'm not saying they're a shit race. They could turn out to be really good. Their storyline could be really, pivotal in the whole War Within expansion and everything. But as of now, aesthetically, they're not that great. That's it. Yeah, it's a shame Sam can't grow a beard as glorious as female dwarves. I could if I wanted to, okay? I keep this shit clean.
trying to figure like who are these
That's how the
people?
wife prefers it.
And I felt like I had different grasps. It's like, because
Right.
one example is someone asks like why do these because the Arathi existing are a surprise, right? Not to us because they showed us in fucking market material,
But to the dwarves and
to the Earthen and to like all our characters and stuff.
Hey.
The Arathi existing and having an underground base in Halifal is completely insane.
How do you miss that?
Yeah. How did we miss that?
Because they were busy the Earthen are kind of robotic and they didn't leave the principles except for the Unbound.
Yes.
who went off and did stuff. But anyway, they were, they were a big
that makes
children.
sense. They're Titan constructs.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, so this is where the robotic thing kind of, the robot versus having culture kind of a little bit pushed me slightly off this. But anyway, the Arathi are.
There is something to their roboticness, and by the way, the whole like sword and Azeroth thing supposedly has triggered the leaking of Azerite. Azeroth speaking to us. That stuff has triggered the Earthen to kind of veer off course from what they typically do, which is just be robotic and do their thing, their daily job, their purpose, fulfill it every day, and then start over the next day. That's why we're starting to interact with them more, and that's why now they're kind of joining us in battle, whereas before they would have just been like, your petty battles to be nothing to us. We have our purpose, and we're just going to do what we have to do. Now they're being influenced by Azeroth.
Are a surprise.
Part of their background story.
At least to most people. So then you're in the inn, which has like beds and stuff. And then a character, I can't remember who it is. It might be Maggie, maybe I don't know, someone anyway, asks why they have beds and why they have inns. As if like, why they have like beer and stuff. It's like,
good point.
Yeah, it's
good
like,
point.
Oh, do they have that because they were looking after these other people that we've heard about? Are they looking after these like Arathi or whatever else that we've heard about now?
Right, because these guys don't sleep.
But then they also have like a whole meadery, and they have beer and they drink beer and they have all these like feelings and emotions and stuff. And I'm a little bit like, it felt like at one point in design these were supposed to be robot-y people who would like awaken with Azeroth all this emotion, but that doesn't seem to be the case, really.
I think it is that they are an offshoot culture of Titan constructs.
Yeah.
So in the same way, if you met a whole bunch of like Steel Forged or whatever they're called, Vrykul, and they had their culture, and you'd have a mix of them having a very, because I think with a creature like that, it's, and a lot of this gets ruined by, I mean, we've talked about this just personally lately. The words 3D printing.
Yeah.
Damaged World War, because people were like, "Oh my god, it's just 3D printed." But you then forget that like
the Titans 3D printed these guys.
The Earthen are constructs. The Vrykul, they were constructs.
True.
And kind of goes back and back and back and back. Characters like
Humans,
by that standard, Odin is a robot. Thorim is a robot, Frey is a robot, Aenar is a robot, Andul's a robot, but not really. They're just, you could say different form of life, different form of intelligence.
Yeah, probably a different form of life's a better way to describe them, because they do have a conscious and some self-awareness too, right? And those are the things that we typically associate with something being alive or living. So yeah, they're not necessarily robots. Maybe their outer body is. The whole thing with Shadowlands, remember we went back there and we saw like the arbiters and all that in their original robotic form and shit, like same concept kind of, and that they were created by something. Maybe they're a robotic form at their core, but they still have a conscience and make decisions and shit like that. So they're alive, that's for sure.
Which is to say,
Sam is a robot.
In a setting like Warcraft, they are going to be far more, you could say artificially woven into existence rather than organically and biologically, as in it's not like lines of code to tell a robot what to do. They even talk about their memory crystal. So it's like they have a memory crystal. There's clearly arcane magic
hard drive
running the memory crystal. And the memory crystal is, I don't know, their equivalent of whatever the hell we have that does memeries.
Yeah, so
I suppose.
Yeah, so like they do have, like, they aren't robots, but there's a little bit of that in like their design and caricature or character work that I'm not sure it completely comes together. Now I could literally do the quest lines again and get a slightly different read, and like maybe I did them in an order that kind of threw me off, or maybe I was like fixated on one piece of information that kind of threw me off.
Well,
because they do have good characters. Like I will say, in terms of like the Earthen in the campaign, they do have good characters who act based on like understandable emotional things, and it is a good campaign.
I guess the thing could be that they're doing good stuff.
Yeah,
it's just if they're doing good stuff in different directions, but then airlocked from each other, as opposed to woven into each other.
There's a little bit of that I feel, which is basically there's like two side quests that kind of threw me off a little bit on that front. So
when you say robotic, what do you like? is it robotic or is it more like my sense of duty is?
It's more that they're kind of unfeeling-ish in a way.
I see.
Like feelings seem.
That makes sense, but aren't there like 3 factions of these guys that I know? Like there's 3 factions of them, and I think one of them is still more into their purpose. Like they believe they shouldn't deviate from their original purpose more than the other 2 groups. I can't remember the names of the groups, but I know there's like 3 inner factions of these guys, and one of them is still more attached to the old ideals of the Titans, and they're doing their purpose and doing their duty and all that stuff, whereas there's others that are more rebellious, right, that have kind of branched away and started doing their own thing more. I'm sure that comes up in the questing.
But that's not really super like reflected in like a big moment happening or something. It's kind of it feels like that's something that's do I draw a comparison?
Is our shared brain cell going to the same place? I wonder.
It wasn't until you said that. Now it is.
Okay, now you know where it is.
Shared brain cell.
So like I'll reserve a lot of that, right? So there's likely what do you call it?
I think the joke is that they're full spectrum warriors.
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
named after the incredible PS2 shooter.
Yeah, so it's probably fine. Anyway, I'll move on to the positive because these
their ability, their racials are
probably
amazing.
The most detailed allied race in terms of customization. And they look great.
So this is then showing us the sorts of things that modern Blizzard production can do.
Incredible
and I think
stuff.
we also see that with, and I suppose we'll get into it later, but the customizable mount from Delves. I said
that thing's
it reminded
awesome.
me of making your cart in Mario Kart. Matt definitely said,
yes.
What concoction of strange drugs are you on? But to
me,
me,
what version of Mario Kart did you play?
well, yeah, very much felt, changing the wheels, changing the sail, changing the, it was
He's
satisfying. Right. So what do we do? What do we change? What's the racials? What's up?
Yeah. So the racials are interesting enough. Where you've got Azerite Surge, which is weird because Azerite isn't like not highlighted as a part of them. So maybe
the interesting thing about this is empowering. I'm assuming means like the click and hold abilities, like we got with the Drakthir. So this is a click hold ability. Now the one thing I don't understand. Okay. Oh my God, why the fuck did it become huge like that? I don't know why it became huge like that. I'm assuming that you're talking about the ability and not something else. But anyways, if you empower it all the way to level 3, is it stacked? Is 1 and 2 part of it as well? Because you're dealing 113% of spell power and fire damage. You're also healing allies at 100% of spell power and 100% of attack power. And then on top of that, you're dealing 113.4 additional fire damage. So would that mean that if you empower this all the way up, you're going to heal plus deal, what would it be, 226.8% of spell power and fire damage? That shit would be crazy. That seems like a very nice ability. Now, it's got a 2-minute cooldown, so this is going to be just part of your rotation, I guess. But that seems like these guys would be really nice in terms of damage. They even do a little bit of healing, too.
Where did the Azerite go, Matt?
Yeah, exactly. So they have an empower ability.
Right, release. Draw upon your inner strength. Release to invoke the power of Azerite, dealing 0 fire damage.
Sick. So you basically deal damage.
But it's an empowered spell, so you hold the button down.
Typo.
So
or
at
you tap it twice, depending on your settings.
True. So at level 1, it deals damage. Level 2, it heals, and level 3, it
deals more damage.
Again,
more damage to the highest health enemy. Interesting. So ingest minerals.
So that highest health enemy
really it makes me think of a horrible.
That highest health enemy thing basically stops it from being an overpowered AOE ability in Mythic Plus.
Image, Matt. Have you ever watched
cool.
the Artemis Fowl film?
I did, yes, actually. I have never.
This is really cool, and I don't know. Do you get to pick? You are always well fed, which is pretty badass. You never have to feast, but you cannot consume food. So activate ingest minerals to consume a gem and change the benefit granted to you by well fed. Okay, so you can do stamina, haste, mastery, critical strike, or versatility. Now I wonder if you got to cycle through this, like click it to get the one you want, or if it's just random and then it goes on cooldown. There is no cooldown on this as of now, so maybe you just keep clicking until you get the buff you want.
Regretted watching a movie before until I watched that.
Yes. Now, do you remember what happens when
Mr.
Mulch Diggums decides to ingest minerals?
I do.
And the horrible mental image.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
I'll leave it there. Okay. You are always well fed, but cannot consume food. That sounds like complete torture.
I would certainly make mom sad if that were my life.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So activate ingest minerals to consume a gem and change your benefit. Basically, your well-fed benefit.
this is
so
really
they
cool,
basically
actually.
don't have to take raid food.
Yep.
They can
They
just
just always choose their
Rip
food.
cooking
they
for
eat a
Earthen, yeah.
gem to change their
That'd be pointless.
permanent buff.
That's kind of class.
Yeah, I
Actually,
really like it.
Yeah, that feels balanced and meaningful.
Yes.
Which I suppose
exactly. Very well said. Balanced and meaningful. It's a very cool ability that's not going to give them anything, crazy beyond what another race would have. And yet it's so cool and specific, and it does give you a benefit. It's pretty nice.
is not like the human 10% reputation racial that they're reworking.
Now they're yeeting into space. Thank fuck.
Wide-eyed
man.
wonder. Whenever you gain experience for exploring a location.
Rip diplomacy. If you don't know, diplomacy is getting deleted from the game. Humans are going to get something else. Sad. Sad.
Gain 0% additional exploration.
Speed leveling, but dragon riding or sky riding around the world.
What's going on there? That
That's
doesn't.
weird. It makes sense.
So I mean, being a miner, obviously, if you want to be a mining dwarf, this is the way to go. You're going to get more finesse, increases the chance of gathering additional materials. So I guess this isn't just mining. Maybe this works for herbalism too, and all the other gathering. And so if you're a profession, Andy, this is going to be your race.
Because these are like isolated, so when they find new things, it's like, oh, we're finding new things. We've got this big expedition. That's like going to be a part of their story going forward.
I'm gonna say that will. Okay, ingest minerals. You'll notice that.
Yeah.
This you won't, unless they make that 20x additional exploration.
That'll be sick as hell, though.
If you just go
Damn.
and get half of a level for exploring a new zone, then I suppose what you'll do is find some sort of 2-person dragon riding mount you can get onto and have your friend just rocket you about the place.
That'll be sick.
You know what, actually?
To make this one noticeable, they would have to have it so when you do loot something like an herb or a mine, they have to give you the items that you would typically get, and then have oh, you just got this additional item too. So that way you're always noticing it. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't even notice it's happening.
They should allow you to do that. Don't make it so OP that it's the only thing that people do.
Yeah.
Not just
Maybe
exploring, but
that would
archaeology
be a
too.
little
That's what it
bit,
looks like.
Hyper-productive.
It does, huh? That's how finesse. Okay, so that's cool. I didn't know that. I don't do professions a lot, so that's nice. So yeah, you would notice this then. Hyper productive. That's pretty cool.
Increase finesse by whatever. Finesse increases the chance of finding additional gathering mats. And
Yeah, the wide-eyed wanderer that they were just talking about. Yeah, how much would you notice it? Probably not at all.
Titan wrought frame, which is the base armor from equipped items. Okay.
Nice, yeah.
Paladin mount.
This is pretty cool, and I wonder how far they would push this. The base armor from equipped items is increased by, they don't have the percentage yet, but that would be really cool. And how far it would go, I don't know. I guess the bigger the items get, the higher item level get, the more that this Titan wrought frame affects you.
Easy, just able to change over the existing one, which, if you've not seen the
Paladin
Dark
mount's
Iron
cool.
Paladin mount, it's so cool. I like being a Draenei Paladin. I kind of wish I didn't have to use an elk, though. When you use your divine steed you just hear "Meow."
Yeah, I guess. I'm not going to lie, though. It's kind of one of the last bastions of racial lore play left in the game. I feel like the Paladin mounts have always been kind of cool. They've always been very much attached to the race that summons them. So I kind of like the very racial specific Paladin mounts, even though I don't play
There's a glyph to
Paladin.
change that, right?
They just look
You
cool.
shitting me?
No, there's a glyph.
That would explain why whenever you do it, you're a
I'm on-
horse.
I'm on the-
But whenever
There's a
I
glyph
do
that
it, I'm an elephant.
Yeah, it's a glyph from Legion where you turn your divine steed into the class mount charger.
Could I just say glyphs are underutilized, and glyphs they should focus more on glyphs. Glyphs are such a cool thing in the game. I love glyphs, and I hope that one day they return to them and actually start adding really cool glyphs back into the game.
Play Paladin and Legion. Wow, I did, but
They're
not
not
the main.
attached to player power at all. They're just fun.
I need to get that. How much effort is there in getting that? What's
Basically,
getting the, okay, so that's just doing the full campaign.
if you don't have the classmate, you have to earn the classmate first, yeah. Yeah. Which is the full campaign and all of the broken shit.
Sure.
Sorry,
full campaign I am down for. Broken Shore I'm a little bit less down for. Actually, I might be quite close to there in my Legion Paladin anyway, so I'll just do it in her. Anyway,
Makes
shaman
sense.
totems, look at them, lovely.
Nice.
Like
Lovely.
a shaman at least. I can't remember, was there any confirmation of their classes? I know it's all of them are plenty or close to it.
Their heritage armor certainly does look similar to what has been found on a battle.net in-game store near you. This looks quite nice, though.
Colors, let's go.
They're cool. I like the gems in the shoulders. The helm doesn't show yet, but it looks like it's going to be pretty generic looking like the rest of the armor. Overall, yeah, the shoulders are cool. The big gemmy shoulders really fit the aesthetic of these guys, so I like them.
Really nice.
Very nice.
Actually, the Algarian Stormrider, like, that whole kit.
The Stormworks looks sick. Yeah, everything looks gorgeous.
Did you get the lightning mallet with the pre-order?
No.
Where did the lightning mallet come from? That was from the trading post.
They did put it on the trading post at some point, I think.
Enough additional consumption opportunities, and oh my god, Matt, even a character screen background. Actually...
Yeah, what I don't understand, though, is we're going to warbands, so you're not even going to see this, right? You're just going to see the warband background with your 4 characters. So, I mean, I guess the only time you'll see this is when you're doing the character creation stuff. That would be my assumption, unless there's a way to, like, when you select the character from the warband, it goes to the character selection screen. I have no idea. But when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I remembered, we're getting warbands. Wait a minute. We're not going to have our specific character, our race-specific character selection backgrounds anymore. So what's this? Just creation, maybe.
That does look pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Going around the Isle of Dorn, I really like the architecture.
I do too.
I just saw a bridge. I thought,
like the Dwarven
that's a
aesthetic.
sick bridge. Even like it wasn't. It was a small bridge, and it was completely flat. It was just, I don't know, it looked cool.
Yeah, I don't really actually like the Isle of Dorn that much.
I love it. I love it. I love the aesthetic. I love all the squared off, angular shit everywhere. The Doramir, or whatever the new city is called, I think it's so cool. I've never played Dwarf. I never probably will play Dwarf. I always played my human. But, I mean, it's right here in my background. Like, this is cool. This is really badass. I love the fire, the lava everywhere, just like the heart. Everything looks like it's forged in steel. It's really badass looking and squared off. To me, this is so cool. And one of the coolest things about the Isle of Dorn is you got all this like dark, steely lava looking shit, but then you got these plants growing everywhere, like all this green foliage everywhere too. So it's like the best of both worlds. I personally really love the aesthetic of the Isle of Dorn a lot.
And
more than I
really
do
like
Dragonflight.
But like just personally, it's not to my taste. It's great. It's not to my taste. But like the combination of texture work and lighting and stuff, even though the Isle of Dorn's a little bit undercooked at the minute, in totality, it looks great.
Yeah, some of that they did say, by the way, that it's missing ground, like it's missing clutter, it's missing creatures and stuff like that.
Yeah, it actually does look. It looks a wee bit. It looks a wee bit ass compared to what it's going to look like.
A wee bit ass. A wee bit ass. First time I ever heard that one used like that. I like them. Yeah, I mean, like, as an allied race, are they exciting aesthetically? No. But are their abilities cool? Their racials cool? Probably have a cool story background. Hopefully that helps them out a little bit. Yeah, I like the stuff about that stuff specifically about them. It's just that their actual look, like their structure, there's nothing exciting about it. That's why I just thought, these guys are okay. Not bad. Cool video from Bellular.